as a host parent from this previous year, my husband and I have some experience that we wanted to share that hopefully will make the first weeks or months go a little bit more smoothly. So things that your organization might not necessarily tell you, and this is just our own experience. Everybody has a very unique experience and has learned new things. So your exchange student arrives, it's going to be brand new. So our experience with that was our exchange student wasn't as excited to try a lot of new or unfamiliar things. Our student seemed to really relish things that were very familiar, and I mean that's understandable. Everything is brand new, and so we tried to make sure that he had some things that were very comfortable for him. It might take a little bit of time for the students to kind of come out of their their cultural shell, so to speak, and really dive into the full experience. If after a reasonable amount of time the student doesn't seem like they are really interested in trying really new things, then that goes into that red flag kind of issue area. But we felt like it was okay at first to do more things that were familiar to the student than not, and then slowly introduce all the crazy fun things that they can get in this country. So also, what really helps smooth out the first few days and weeks is to do those common interests. If you whatever it is that you all like to do, hopefully this is something that in your you chose your student because they had common interests, you felt that they were going to be a good fit for your family, then that's the time to really start doing those things so you can start bonding. I think it's also pretty critical during this time, and actually throughout the whole exchange experience, for the students to be following the recommendations from the host organization, where the kids would not contact their family of origin, or friends in their home country more than once a week, and that is really important to kind of help the students really get into a full immersion. It also helps in the bonding with the host family, because you're becoming a new family, even as short term as it is. So if a student is calling their natural family and talking to their friends every day, for example, be it on social media, be it actually video chat, however they're going to do that, they're really living their lives in two different worlds and not able to truly have an immersive experience in the US, which is exactly what they're here to do. And it is really going to hurt your bond down the road with the students. So some other things that'll make that could set you up for success is going through all of the kind of the rules and expectations of your household. Put all that down, state it very clearly, and also include any kind of consequences if those rules are broken. These are still teenagers. I found that teenagers are teenagers no matter where you go, just like people are people no matter where we go. So really helpful to have things written down in black and white and something that you can refer to down the road if bumps do come up. Any kind of rule or expectation that could potentially come up during your time together, even if there's a really small chance that it would, it's still good to get that out there. For example, we didn't write down our expectations around dating. And instead we asked our student, do you think that you will be dating this year? And our student at that point did not think that they were, so we thought we don't need to discuss this. Well, things changed. And that really caught us off guard because we just hadn't had that conversation yet about dating and, what in America, what is really kind of a normal standards for teens dating. So just anything that you can think of that might potentially come up, it's good to just get that out there from the get-go. Also, a lot of they might not fully understand why we do what we do because it's a foreign culture. So I would also recommend taking the time to explain this is why we do things. We might not want you to play a really dangerous sport, for example, because people, we live in a pretty litigious society. So if you get hurt, first of all, medical care is very expensive. And if you get hurt, if somebody hurts you, that could turn into something a lot bigger. It's important then to have a student who is really interested in learning those things, in learning how other people do things, trying new things, in case, hey, it's not how we do things in my home country, but, here, this is my opportunity to learn something new. So those are critical skills, or personality traits that are going to help make the experience successful for everyone. Another tip for not necessarily the first week or two, but certainly a little bit earlier on in the experience, we would recommend encouraging your student to do sleepovers at other students' houses, to experience other families other than yours. I mean, that's what they're here to do. To experience, the way a lot of different people might live because we have such a diverse culture. Personally, I also, it gives you and your family a break, a little bit of a respite, which is important too. It's a really hard thing to do. It's probably the hardest thing that the student has ever done in their life. And it can be really challenging for the host family as well. So having those little bits of respite, whether or not the student goes to another exchange student's home, if they make friends, in American friends, and they go to their home, or if you have family members, they can go and visit your extended family. So I would start thinking about that earlier on too. So just a few different tips. You might have a few of your own. If you have hosted before, we'd love to hear those too.